We are going to discuss one of mine and Colin's favourite subjects, which is Nigerian players in the Premier League. Colin, there is a lot to get excited about ahead of the 2021-2022 campaign when it comes to Super Eagles in the top flight. Who has got you most excited ahead of the new campaign?
Well, look, the one name that has got everyone in Nigeria talking has got to be Eberechi Eze. Now, in fairness, he has not quite committed to Nigeria, and he's still, with the England under 21s, even though he pulled out with injury just before the game. But I think everybody in Nigeria will agree with me that the whole country is excited about seeing Eberechi Eze in the Premier League, how he performs, what he does, and if he can match it up with the big boys, and eventually, if hopefully he will make up his mind to turn out for the Super Eagles rather than for England. So I think all things considered, he would be the most exciting prospect for us to look at. Going down the list, I would also look at Kelechi Iheanacho. We've seen his troubles at Leicester. We've also seen that when he's come on, he's done his bit, especially towards the tail end of the last season, and even with the new season starting in friendlies, he's also shown up in some ways. So I think between those two, a lot of Nigerians will be keeping their eyes on them to see how they perform this coming season.
Since Eze signed for Palace on paper, I think it was a move that made a lot of sense. He's remaining in London. He's moving to a club where he will likely feature quite regularly. But actually, a lot of people, there's some pessimism about this move. Some people are saying that maybe Palace could be a team on the slide. They didn't do well at the tail end of last season. They struggled after football resumed. And there's maybe a sense that there's a certain staleness slipping in here at Palace. Obviously, Zaha hasn't moved on. That's still clouding the club. Are you confident that Eze has made the right choice with the destination he's gone for here?
Look, there are a number of things involved here. First of all, when it comes to transfers, they are very complicated pieces of business. Clubs have to actually put money on the table, before a player can move. So the player doesn't decide who comes for him or not. So in this case, I would say Palace where they want to put money on the table, and Eberechi has always wanted to move to the Premier League. Unfortunately, couldn't do that with QPR. So now he gets a chance to do that with Crystal Palace. And not only does he get to play in the Premier League, he also is almost, if he does well, he's almost guaranteed playing time. And he's going to a side that, he's going to play attacking football, which exactly suits, how he wants to play. So I think it's a win-win for him. Whatever happens, it will all come down to him, how he performs individually. If he does well, irrespective of what happens with Palace, he can get a move to a bigger club or another club in the Premier League.
We saw Eze have a hand in 22 goals in the Championship last season with Queen's Park Rangers. And I think both of us are very optimistic and excited about how close he can get to matching those numbers in the Premier League. It's interesting you also went for Iheanacho because, I'm not trying to find a pattern here, but he also plays for a club who some may say are a little bit on the slide after a pretty ropey end to the last season.
Well, look, first of all, you've got to look at where they've been. They punch above their weight, to be honest. Look, for long swaths of the season, they were third, they were fourth, but they kept at third until I think almost on the last day is when they lost it and went all the way down to fifth. So when you look at Leicester City and then you look at the clubs above them, you've got to say they had a pretty good season. Yes, they won the Premier League a couple of years ago, but, again, that was punching above their weight. So when you look at where they are and where if we were to do XG for clubs, I don't think anybody will be putting Leicester in the top 5. But that's where they are. So I think it's great for them that they're there. What is important for Kelechi right now is for him to show, his value. It's a new season. He didn't start the last season very well. So now he needs to pitch up, and show that, yes, he either can be a complement for Jamie Vardy or even lead the line on his own.
We've seen Jamie Vardy somehow defy time to continue scoring, even winning the Golden Boot, despite his advancing years. But obviously that can't go on forever. Iheanacho only scored 5 goals last season, so I don't think we've really seen enough from him to suggest that he can be the replacement for Vardy. But it looks like this season, at least, he will get one more opportunity to prove that he can improve, maybe hit double figures in the Premier League, and maybe replace Jamie Vardy. Prediction now for you, how many goals from Iheanacho this season?
Yeah, I agree with you. Not replace Jamie Vardy. I don't think he has it. I think he's more of a second striker. When he started as an attacking midfielder before he went onto the striking position. So I think if he actually starts playing during the course of the season, I'd go for him getting at least maybe 12 to 15 goals this season.
I would be very surprised if he got 12 to 15, but I hope he proves me wrong. Obviously, another Nigerian player on Leicester's books is Wilfred Ndidi. Another solid campaign. I think Leicester really lost. They missed him last season when he was missing for some really critical games. It was no coincidence that they were some of the matches where they slipped up, where they lost ground. Are you surprised, perhaps, that none of the bigger clubs in the Premier League have made a move for him this summer?
Exactly. I am stunned, to be honest. I mean, look, he's always been, at the top of the list for whole defensive midfielders in the Premier League, and in fact in Europe, to be honest. And I'm surprised that the top clubs are looking outside for players to fit into the holding role when they've got a ready-made Premier League proven player right under their noses. I mean, you look at Arsenal are going for Thomas Partey. Ndidi gives them the same, almost just about the same sort of option. He doesn't have quite the same attacking prowess as Partey, but he provides solid cover for the back four. The same thing with the other top clubs. So I'm wondering, what exactly are they looking for? Ndidi is right there. He's available. He's proven in the Premier League, and he can do a job for just about anybody.
Well, we've also seen Manchester United and Tottenham both improve their central midfields during the off-season without looking at Ndidi. But hopefully he will get the chance again in Europe this season to demonstrate what he can do in the continent. We saw it briefly in the Champions League earlier in his career. So at least that's some area where he can progress and hopefully demonstrate what he is capable of this season. One player who overhauled Leicester last term was Odion Ighalo with Manchester United, even though I think if we're both being honest, he had a fairly limited role in United's Premier League run-in. Hopefully he will score at least one goal for United during the next 6 months.
Look, here's the thing. I think we've all agreed on this. We've both agreed on this on a number of occasions that Ighalo is more a stopgap. And he came on at the time when Rashford was injured. Martial was also, hit and miss, and so he was brought in sort of like a backup. Now, would have loved to see him play a bit more games, especially when they're chasing games and need goals against lower opposition. That hasn't happened. So I really do hope that he gets that opportunity between now and January when his loan expires to get maybe 3 or 4 goals for Manchester United.
I think 3 or 4 goals, I think we'd be happy with that. At least his fairy tale return to the Premier League, his fairy tale signing for Old Trafford, at least we could say that he found the back of the net in the Premier League once. One player who I think had an even more disappointing year than Ighalo last term, of course, was Alex Iwobi. We do need to talk about him because you and I champion Nigerian players in the top flight. But there's no getting away from the fact that Iwobi's debut year at Goodison Park was a bitter disappointment. Now James Rodriguez has arrived at Everton. Competition is going to be fierce. He can't post another season like last season, can he?
Oh, no, definitely not. Look, with Iwobi, I sort of like, it leaves me scratching my head because we're thinking, okay, what is the problem? Is it that he's not being played in the right position? I mean, he's played at left wing, he's played at right wing, he's played centrally, he's drifted centrally, he's been everywhere. So is it a case of, being everywhere and nowhere? But even at that, you want to see him deliver a little bit more. There were hardly any crosses from him last season, no assists. His goal return was abysmally poor, 1 goal, the entire season. So, yeah, you're right. And Everton have strengthened. Rodriguez has come in. So Iwobi needs to, sort of look himself in the mirror and think, what do I need to do to, establish myself, get a better season? He's hardworking. He's got the close control. He's got the quick thinking. What he needs is the end product. We need to see more chances created, more assists, more crosses, and of course, definitely more goals.
Yeah, 40 million, 1 goal. I mean, unless he improves dramatically, he's destined to be perhaps one of the all-time great Premier League flops, unfortunately. But let's hope it doesn't come to that.
Hopefully not.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week, subscribe to ESPN+.